Welcome, everybody, to Ignite Humanity Live. I'm your host, Lady JB Owen, and I'm super excited to be here today on this terrific Tuesday talking about ways to awaken you on how you can ignite humanity. We love having conversations with amazing guests talking about how they have taken an ignite moment in their life, something transformative, and turned it into a trajectory that has allowed them to do something to help others and create a massive ripple effect on the planet. And when I say massive, what I mean is one person at a time. One person is massive, and each person you touch with your lives and the things that you're doing helps ignite the planet, and that becomes a massive ripple effect. We don't even know the impact that we're making on each and every person as it grows and grows and grows. But what we do know is we have to be conscious, aware, and awaken to what we are infringing upon others and how we are imprinting our ideas and values on them. How can we do it in a positive way, in a powerful way, and in a way that encourages everyone so that we have a better life, a better future, and a deeper, more connected humanity? All right, well, let's meet our first guest and talk about all of these big conversations. Sherille Marquez is a thought leader and author. She leverages her personal experience of overcoming a challenging divorce and raising two boys on her own to empower other divorced women. Despite initially seeking help from therapists, she embarked on a self-driven journey of learning and self-exploration. Sherille now claims to assist other divorced women to move beyond traditional therapy, helping them to overcome issues like lost identity and low self-esteem. Through a blend of science, spirituality, and alternative healing, she promotes self-discovery and empowerment, encouraging women to design fulfilling post-divorce lives. We love what she's doing. Let's have a talk. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, JB. I am so honored to be here.
Thank you so much. Important conversation. I am a mom also of divorce. I'm a daughter of divorce. I'm a mom who had went through divorce. I have my own children. This is an interesting topic for me. I think there's a lot of people who can relate to it. How do you like to start out with this conversation and talk about the life after divorce?
Well, first and foremost, I like to start off by giving women hope. My focus is really women, but for all our audience out there, and the fact that this is a starting point to being able to rebuild your life in a way that resonates with you deeply, and also be able to connect with your true self, because we have so many different hats that we're wearing just by existing here, in today's times, especially being a woman. So you can absolutely relate to that, JB.
I can. And, I often say never before in history have women been so responsible for so many things. We're the moms, we're the wives, we're the business owners, we're the humanitarians, we're the soccer coaches, we're running the community, we're the breadwinners. We're really being asked to do a lot of things that we haven't traditionally or haven't over time. That's causing stress on us, stress on the marriage, stress on the family, stress on the marital unit. Can you share a little bit? I mean, if we know the statistics, and I don't know what they are currently, but we do know that they're quite high. Divorce is quite high in a lot of relationships. How can somebody start to come back from a divorce and not think that it was a failure?
Well, I think that we have to get to a level of acceptance that we did the best that we could from what we know and where we're at, because you only know what you know.
Right.
And from that point, at least you can get to a place that you can begin to at least start to wrap your head around where you're at and where you'd like to go. Because for me, the reason why traditional therapy didn't work is that I was just reinforcing what was already wrong, what was already, and I felt that the tools that the traditional modern, like tools, I should say, it didn't apply to me. And so once I rebuilt mine and my children's lives, that's when I wrapped all of the a decade year of just training, knowledge, personal experience into this package where it's really practical.
I think divorce feels like an ending for a lot of people, and it is an ending of a unity. And yet it is the beginning of self-discovery. And I know even for myself, when after I went through my divorces, more than one, I did really go on a path of who do I want to be? What do I stand for? What do I believe in? What's important to me? What do I value? And with 2 children to take care of, all of everything about me had to include them. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. And that was during a time when, I didn't really know who I was as far as who is Cheryl Marquez. I know I wanted to be the best mom I could be, and that's what I knew from my culture, my upbringing, is how to be that. But who was I? And so my children grew with me in that sense, where I evolved as well in my parenting style. The old models that I was taught did not work for where I'm at here in today's landscape, and also being a single mom to boys there who are now,
Mhm.
young men. And yes, so I'd had to recreate. I mean, I'm talking about, JB, pretty much everything.
Agreed. And
Yes.
there's a big responsibility. I had a boy and a girl, and I had to parent them differently. I had to, act differently with each one of them. I had to fulfill different needs and different desires for each one of them. It was a huge balancing act. And what I also knew was I had a great responsibility to raise a young woman that would never allow any kind of, what I went through was some domestic violence, any kind of domestic violence in her life. And at the same time, I had to raise a boy that would never, ever allow that domestic violence in his life and his marriage also. So some of the things that why our relationship end become really great learning tools
Yes.
for our children and for ourselves, and in turn become, like you, your job now, your profession, your advocacy, something you do with your passion and heart.
Yes, I could not agree more. And also, just to piggyback off of what you just said, um, actually learning, like I had mentioned, what works and what doesn't work. And because my children grew up with my ex-husband, his culture is Latino. There's a lot of the machismo and that whole, like, the behavior that does not work at all. And especially now, like, mental health is so crucial for men as well. And that's why although my target audience, they're divorced women, but I don't leave out men either, because I recognize that there is a problem and we need to change the narrative as well, so that way that they can step out, they can be vulnerable, and still understand that that's still masculine actually. In fact,
Mhm.
that makes you even stronger.
Yeah, absolutely. And there is a wonderful also work that we need to do to maintain relationship. For example, I'm still very well connected to and wonderfully co-creating a parenting with my kid's dad. I had another relationship after that that I also divorced. Those dynamics have to help the children in the relationship they have with their father. So I understand what you're saying there. Let's talk about women. Let's talk about how they can take everything that they've learned from that relationship and how do they start over?
Well, first and foremost, I'm going to go back to getting to a level of acceptance, because,
Mhm.
and also taking personal responsibility for your part in the relationship. We can slice it and dice it all day long, blaming the other person, but ultimately, it's our responsibility, for the way that we showed up, the way that we, didn't set our boundaries, and we played it small or played it too big. So there's so many different things that we can just, you know, make ourselves feel even smaller. So what we need to do at this point in time is that, if you really want to move your life forward, start with acceptance. And there are steps after the fact that you can begin to build upon, one foot after the other, from that point on.
Yeah, and let's talk a little bit about acceptance, because acceptance isn't meaning you endorse everything that happened or just gloss over. Really, accepting is realizing that that is what happened and it happened for a reason and it all unfolded the way that it did, and to just not necessarily carry all of the charge around it. What's your definition of acceptance? Because I think some people feel like, I don't want to accept what happened. I want to, I still feel like, a certain emotion around it. how can people just understand that acceptance is really for them, not for the other person?
I love this question. Thank you for asking that, JB. I think what's very powerful is if their perspective shifts that there is a higher power, a higher being, and that life is always working out for them. So if you
Mm-hmm.
have that perspective going into something like this or other tragedies, like for myself, like my son had cancer when he was 3, the oldest one, and I was 6 months pregnant at the same time. I have to look at that as I might not understand what's happening at this moment in time, but I know that it's growing me somehow. This is also my child's life path. This is my ex husband's life path. And I just need to get to a place where I can wrap my head around that I might not understand it, but somehow, some way down the line, the dots will connect because I believe
Mm.
life is happening for me. And when we elevate ourselves and we shift our vibration, the universe, God, higher power, whatever you want to call it, it responds. And that's really what it's about because everything is energy. It cannot be destroyed. It can only be transmuted.
Well said. Beautiful. It reminds me that a lot of people going through divorce, they reach out to a friend, they call a girlfriend, they, go to their mom, they go to their aunt, they go to all these other people for advice and feedback when it really is an inside job. It really is an opportunity to self-reflect, to do the self-work, to get really interested in who you are. And then, of course, as you just said, to really connect to something bigger than self. And I think that's what Igniting Humanity is all about. We all go through stuff, we all have trials and tribulations. But then there comes a time in our lives where we decide, I really want to focus on how I can be a better human in this human experience so that I can radiate a better human experience for others. Talk a little bit about how your work is actually igniting humanity.
Actually, I really love this question because people really underestimate the power of making a change within yourself. It
Mm-hmm.
causes a reverberating ripple effect throughout the whole galaxy and the universe. And we can even have, everyday examples. You can tell when somebody is having a bad day based off of how they're showing up. You could be at the store and they could be a moody, and then you have another checker, behind you that's just chatting it up with, their customer. Because again, it depends on how we show up in the world. And personally, if this platform, I'm so honored and grateful to be here, JB, because it's allowing me to, share that message that, hey, if you do the work, especially as a single mom, especially as a single parent, your children, they do not have to be destroyed by a divorce. They could
Mm-hmm.
actually use that as a springboard to level themselves up in their lives and just see that they're capable of doing difficult things. And who they become in the process is beautiful, and I've seen that with my own children.
Yeah, me too. I feel the same. I remember saying to my son, this isn't a great thing to happen to you when you're this young, but what I will tell you is this will help you so much more when you're a dad, a father, a husband, when you are a pillar of your community. You will have learned beautiful lessons from this experience. It doesn't feel very good right now as a kid, but I will share with you that it will help you so much more as an adult. And I think if you really are open with your kids and share with them that you're learning, you're navigating, you guys are doing it together, it's a team. I feel that they really become a part of the process versus they are feeling like they're a byproduct of the process. And helping them see your growth helps them grow. It really truly is that ripple effect. We talked a little bit in the pre-show about how you are very passionate about creating this ripple effect. Share your Ignite moment and how this all became important to you.
Well, my marriage, my 13-year marriage ended because my ex-husband, I discovered he was having an affair. And although I didn't know, what it entailed, obviously I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know what the future looked like. But what I did know is that my children and I deserved better. And so I stopped that cycle right then and there. And I honestly thought, JB, because I'm a very strong individual, I've gone through a lot of adversities already in my life up to that point. I thought, well, you know what? The worst thing I've already gone through the worst thing. It's my child having cancer and being pregnant at the same time. What could be worse?
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me tell you, divorce is a different kind of pain, and you can absolutely relate to
Hmm.
that. So
Hmm.
that was my ignite moment, was making that decision, no matter how uncertain the future looked, that I knew and my children knew. Oh, I knew that for myself and my children, we deserved more.
Hmm. Do you feel like, and sometimes I look back in retrospect and think I could have done more, I could have done a few things before it all fell apart. Do you have some tools and strategies that maybe if somebody's feeling like they're leaning in that direction, or maybe in the midst of it, but it's not completely cut off? Is there something that you can suggest again through the self development that people can do to just potentially do some of the work before it all falls apart?
Gosh, yes, my goodness. I've done, of course, a lot of self reflection, but I didn't stay there as like I could have, would have, what could have been, because again, with that acceptance and everything happens for our greatest good. But what I will say is that, yes, I was a completely different version of myself before. Um,
Hmm.
of course, there's the good parts, the foundation, but there's some things that, I mean, hello, we're about programming. By the time we're at the age of 7, we've already been conditioned who to be, what our name is, like how to behave. So a lot of those things were conditioning that I carried in my whole life, my marriage, showing up in that way, just also being too much in my masculine energy, pushing, ambitious, aggressive. And that did not allow my partner, because I didn't trust him. Hello, it's again goes back to me though, to step up and be that, and be that partner, have his male energy. So I really was the bus driver. I created that. So
Mm.
I'm doing things a lot differently this time around because I learned. And we have to be able to get to a point where we have moments of self reflection, a lot actually, so that we can see how we showed up and what we can do to make things better this time around. It's an opportunity.
Yeah, I so agree. I mean, I am now remarried with the most amazing individual. I absolutely love my husband. I adore our marriage. And I had learned so much in the others of how to do it differently. And I was able to change. Can you talk a little bit? Because some people say, oh, you never change. Nobody changes. You can't change. And I actually don't believe that. I feel like people can be rocked to the core, down on their knees, and literally have that moment, that spiritual moment where they are ready to change, and maybe not necessarily change, but let's use the word of today, awaken to who they are, awaken to a greater version of themselves, awaken to how they can do things differently. And that propels them forward.
I love this. Yes. And I love that you used awaken, because honestly, we are whole and perfect beings already. It's all the programming. So for me, it's about actually undoing and, rediscovering
Mhm.
the truth of who we are, which we're pure joy. It's our birthright to be happy and fulfilled, and we forget about that because again, this earth is a school. And so
Mm.
you came here, the bravest souls came here during this point in time to learn, to grow, and hopefully to also impact and ignite humanity and consciousness. So we have to really take the time and do the inner work to try to become the best version of ourselves. And if that's just 10% better than the day before, shoot, that's 10% better. It's
Mm.
not 100 all the time. So we have to be at that place where, okay, this is the most I can do, but it's better than before, better than yesterday. Oh, I slipped a little bit, but I know what to do now. I'm going to get back to it and then make it better. That's what I would do.
Well, that was my favorite thing that you said, was we are brave souls to come to this earth during this time. And if you actually think about yourself as being a brave soul to combat all of the things that are being put upon us in this era and this time, it actually does make you feel empowered. It does ignite you to the idea that we are going to face challenges, and we all know that great change comes through adversity, and we are always molding. I love to say, throw the clay on the wheel and start molding your life. And, these experiences and these relationships we have really open us up, crack us open like a walnut to get to the good stuff, to really ignite our lives in new ways. Such a beautiful, beautiful conversation. Is there some things that you suggest we do, maybe some daily rituals or some practices that both men and women can do as they're coming through the potential loss and grief and emotional turmoil of divorce?
Absolutely. And I this might be played out, but I'm going to say it again. Gratitude is absolutely the very first point that you need to get to, because what you're doing is that you are starting to slowly change the narrative as to everything is doom and gloom, because that's how it is. It's just it's a death, ending of a relationship, a marriage. It's very tragic. But if you can just pivot and take a look at it from a different lens, it doesn't even have to be about the relationship. It could be that you have running water, you
Mm-hmm.
got out of bed. Thank your millions, like, community of cells in your body that's doing the freaking work without us having a medal. But that's why, like, we want to, like, we think we're smarter than our body, but that's a whole other conversation, JB. So
It's true. Be happy your heart is pumping. Be happy your lungs are working. Be happy you can see. I say that all the time. Like, my body's doing stuff I don't even know it's doing, filtering the food and, doing all this stuff. And we're not even grateful for that. And thank God that is happening in our bodies to keep us going. I agree with you. Gratitude is so, so important. And you're right. You may have to move out of your house, or you don't drive the same car, or life changed profoundly. But what can you be grateful for? The new community, the new friends you have, the new home, the new, the things, the new opportunities you have with your children. I actually laugh because I have a better relationship with my mother-in-law post-divorce than before. And we have become such amazing, incredible friends. She is such a mentor to me, and I want to thank her publicly. It was tough in the marriage, but after the marriage, we bonded together to make sure the kids always had time with their dad, to make sure that the family and festivities and holidays were always so powerful. And she helped me through so much of my own grief, that it's a powerful opportunity to just see things differently and be grateful for those.
what a blessing, JB.
Mm-hmm.
What an absolute blessing.
If you could, really speak to somebody who is watching that is probably wrapped in their blanket and, hurting deeply, feeling like it's their fault. And a lot of women, me included, after the divorce felt like, what did I do? Why did I implode my life? I should just go back. I should have fixed it. Like all these should have, could have, would has. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Absolutely. For all those viewers, just know that this is where you're at. And again, I don't want to sound redundant, but I have to. You have to get to a place of acceptance, because your subconscious is always listening to your internal dialogue. It's always reinforcing your feelings and your thoughts. And if you want to change, begin to start to change, you have to pay attention to the thoughts, the words, especially that you speak out loud. That's why they call it spelling, because you're literally casting a spell. And we can get down on the metaphysics, but that's where it's at, is just pay attention to what you're thinking, and just get so caught up in the possibility as opposed to your past.
Mm-hmm. I'd love to just say a little bit. When I was single mom, of course, we go through that phase where we want to reintroduce a partner into our lives. And I read a great book that talked about whoever you attract into your life is going to be a mirror of you. So whatever you've got going on in your life, just know that it's going to attract the other person. And so I thought, like, well, if I'm a little bit overweight and if I don't have my finances in order and if I'm fighting with my family, like, my partner is going to be having all those same problems. And I don't really want to deal with that. And so it helped me go through my own journey of getting myself in shape and having the body and the relationship with my body that I wanted, restoring the relationships I had with my family, organizing my finances, and all of those things that I thought I needed to work on my life. I really wanted my partner to show up with the same kind of, success in their lives. And so I just had to plug that in a little bit, folks. And ladies, if you're thinking about divorce is here and now I'm looking for the next person, actually take the time to realize that whoever you attract is going to be a mirror of you. And are you shining, your light in a way that you want to attract, and how can you be the best version of you so you can attract the best version of you. And of course, the moment I wasn't looking for anyone and felt so wonderful about my life and had so much in order and just was happy and content and didn't even consider that I needed another person, the Mr. Wonderful showed up.
I love how that works. It's so magical.
Yeah, you really get your own inner strength and you really get clear on what's important to you. And that absolutely attracts the person who is in the same frequency. Talk a little bit as we wrap up about the power of creating the frequency for your future and how each and every one of us can ignite humanity.
Well, everyone, audience, ladies, men, whoever is listening, just know that you inherently are this just perfect and whole being. It's all of the programming. And again, pay attention to the thoughts and the words that you are speaking, because it is literally creating your reality. There's science now, it's really shifting into more of the metaphysics and of this type of thought. It's not new age or woo-woo, you know, people don't get that. Like, okay, well, why don't you tell me how that's working out in your life? So just know that life is always responding to you. And how would you like that to be?
So well said. Life is always responding to you. And so show up and know that you have the ability to create your greatest life and the lives around you. Thank you so much, my darling. Really love the conversation. Honor you and your bravery. Thank you for creating two amazing men in the world. And thank you for helping so many individuals overcome a difficult time. It will endearly help humanity be a better place as we all step into our greatness. Thanks for being here.
So much.
Blessings. Folks, I hope this was an interesting show. You may not be in a divorce at the moment, but you may know somebody in your life. You may have gone through it as a child. Just really stepping into, as Sherille said, that acceptance and that knowing, being kind, having great gratitude for all of the things around you. That will make a huge difference as you awaken into the next version of you. If you'd like to know what we're doing at Ignite Humanity to awaken humanity, please check out our website. We're really up to some fun stuff. We are building the largest compilation book with 280 fabulous individuals talking about how they have had an Ignite moment and how that moment is helping them ignite humanity. We're looking for powerful individuals who would like to be a part of that huge, colossal book that is going to touch every corner of the planet. If you feel you've got a story to be a part of the Ignite Humanity book, please let us know and indicate in our application form that you would like to be a part of that process. We're also building schools. So exciting. That's right. We love to ignite literacy, and all the proceeds of all of our book projects help us build schools in third world countries. So if you would like to be a part of that, every dollar you donate helps build one of our schools and buys a brick that we use from recycled plastic to create these schools. Go on over and donate. Even just a little bit is helpful. And we're doing something wonderful in May. We're having an event in Las Vegas. We're bringing together all of us like-minded individuals who are in the mindset of humanity, of empowerment, of upliftment, of self-development. We're talking about our businesses, our branding, our books, and our breakthroughs at an incredible 2-day event called Gatherama in Las Vegas. We'd love to have you attend. It's an absolutely wonderful 2-day event, extremely affordable, and I promise you so much fun. I love to inject fun into events. So please check out our website to see if you could come to Gatherama. All right, happy Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day, and may your life be filled with Ignite moments. Take care.
Now, more than ever, we need to come together to connect with one another. We need to feel the truth in who we are and let go of everything that's happened in the past. We need to empower every person on the planet and awaken hearts, enliven souls, come together, laugh, play, rejoice, connect, create, and love. It's time to ignite humanity. We want you to be a part of something that will impact the future for everyone. We want you to tell your story, share your Ignite moment, show people who you truly are. Be a part of igniting humanity and making a difference in the world, and of our futures.